to the Trading Market Technicals morning call video for Wednesday, August the 14th. Green on the board, Dow Jones up 31, S&P up 4. That came around 10:30. Markets actually started bottoming and then reversed course. We did get a little excitement coming out of Apple. Carl Icahn tweeted out that he has a big stake in Apple and he's going to be buying more. So we had the Icahn pump, and actually Apple was up about $22, $23. I'll show you that in charts in a moment. But nonetheless, aside from Apple and some of the metals moving, it was very, very quiet. We are getting to now the end of our summer season, which everybody starts really taking off their last-minute ditches on trying to go on vacation with family. So I think it's going to be even more quieter unless we can get some movement to the downside. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen. It looked really exciting when volatility was starting to pick up last week when we called that volatility trade, but you never know. Patience is a must in this market, at least right now, especially when volatility is really drying up. But I do still feel that we're going to get a little bit of some downside pressure here. The charts are indicating that, and we just can't push everything to the side and just keep buying everything. So let's be patient. Let's let the trades work out, let them develop, and then let's enter them and manage our trade accordingly. All right. So what do we have today? It's kind of a quiet. Going to be a real quick session because there's really not much that was actually going on, again, other than really Apple. But I want to show you a few things. Just want to point out, let's see where the where the NYMO is, McClellan Oscillator. And the McClellan Oscillator is basically at negative 32. And again, plenty of room to really run to the downside if this market wants to run higher. Actually sell off, or plenty of room to the upside if the market wants to move up accordingly. So this is telling me nothing really other than we're basically flatline in here. Plus 30, minus 30 really isn't much of anything. Now, take a look at the VIX. VIX actually starting to creep back lower again. And when you do a volatility trade, especially if you're using the VXX, the ETF instrument, it's basically a hit and run. When you have some decent profits, maybe a 1 to 2 day hold if you're lucky. You do not want to be entering a trade like that. And what happens, as you can see, it erodes all of the profits. And even if the market did nothing, the VIX, the VXX, the ETF is known for just eroding your profits. So just really keep that in mind. If you are looking to buy volatility or you're looking to buy the VIX, I would do it. I would actually, if you can, do the VIX. Some brokerages offer that. If not, I think the VXX would be the next best thing. But again, it's a one day hold, a quick move up, and then selling up. So really, sort of like a day trade scalp. And let's take a look at the dollar. Now the dollar is actually getting interesting here. Dollar actually moved up high, but again, really, like I said, 82.50 is really where we want to see the dollar break out, kind of consolidate, and then take another move up. And then I think you're going to get some selling pressure in equities. Now I've been looking at the euro short for quite some time. Haven't triggered anything, but as you can see here, our euro is sitting on the 20-day moving average. Now, if the dollar can really pick up some momentum, then I think the euro will continue to sell pressure. However, there's one caveat. The commitment of traders reports, which came out last Tuesday, I looked at, and I forgot to mention on yesterday's morning call, they have the retail traders the most short in history. So it looks like to me that, and when you have that, if you're a contrarian, the shorts are going to get squeezed. So I think that the euro might have one more shot at 134 or 135 area. And I think that's when you're going to want to really get into that and start to short it, when it gives you a sell signal. So that's the only red flag for me to literally get short the euro. Now, remember, that doesn't always happen, but it's just something that you really need to address when you're looking at sentiment. And when you take a look at the commitment of traders reports, you can see that the retail guys, which are always wrong, are on the wrong side of the trade. That doesn't mean that if you have a lot of retail traders short, that means that really the euro is gonna move higher and they're gonna cover. So that's something really to keep an eye on. So I wouldn't be looking to short at just yet. I want to see this market go up a little higher. Maybe the dollar has 1 or 2 days of selling and the euro really pops up, and then really starts to squeeze the shorts, and then that's when you want to look to get short. So right now, right here, I wouldn't look to get short the euro at all. All right, now let's go into our charts. And as you can see here, you can see it's pretty much of a benign day. We really don't have, actually the last pretty much most of July and all of August. So that's why you have to be very selective in your trading. Take a look at your best situation, follow your trading plan, put your stops in place, and you will make money. It's just you have to be really cautious and don't get aggressive because this is not a market to be aggressive at the moment. Here's a SPY. As you can see, really not much going on. Bollinger Bands, they started pinching. As you can see here, we sold off into about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and then we started inching higher, and then we popped, and then sideways consolidated the rest of the afternoon. So we only had about a good hour, say about an hour and a half of movement, believe it or not. That was pretty much it. So, again, you have to be selective in your trades. Diamonds, really not much of anything, but the diamonds out of the 5 indices we follow are one of the closest to the 50-day moving average. Pretty much, you're 153. Yeah, so you're about 50 cents away from the 50-day moving average. That's pretty close for some sort of a target if you were looking to short the diamonds. But you had to squeeze out a short here. Look at this, no movement at all, which tells me that the markets are going to move higher. Here's the 50-day moving average, which coincides nicely with the slanted neckline. The transports are obviously weaker than all sectors. Again, as you can see, we get 2-day pop. The rest of the 5 days we're selling off. So the transports are also indicating, I think, further downside as well. And that's going to put pressure on equities if transports really get going to the downside. Now, it really hasn't happened, right? You get 3-4 days, and then all of a sudden it plays catch-up. So just keep that in mind. Don't think that the transports are rolling over, and we're going to roll over with the market. It's just it hasn't been that way. If you look at past history, if you look at the left side of the chart, it always played catch-up. IWM's actually holding up quite well. We're way away from the 50-day moving average over here. As well, we have that horizontal trend line support. And now we're just back testing this uptrend line. So let's see if we can get above it and try to make new highs. Watch the Russell. Russell's been very strong lately for some clues. Okay, SMH. We have our short watch, right? We haven't had a short trigger. This bearish pattern, this head and shoulders pattern, has not triggered below. And as you can see, 1, 2, 3 times it hit on this right side. And then here, and then here. So this is definitely a valid slanted trend line support that you want to be watching. Now, it'd be nice to see if we can get back up in here and then fail, and then I would look to short the SMH or a weak semiconductor. Intel is one of my favorites. Take a look at that. Look for some green, and then look to short that. But this is a decent spot here. Now, remember, it didn't trigger, so we don't have a short on. If the market were to rally up and continue, this will be negating. So just keep that in mind. Goldman Sachs had a nice bounce off its 50-day moving average, but again, the financials and the banks were definitely lagging this move in the last, let's call it 8-9 trading sessions. XLF holding critical support here, so we're just going to need to watch and see what happens here. And look at Apple. Lastly, Apple, the Icon pump. Carl Icahn comes in. He actually tweeted that he is buying a big stake in Apple. He has bought a big stake in Apple, and he's buying more. And now he's telling Tim Cook that he wants a buyback. Typical Carl Icahn move. But anyway, nonetheless, 25 points or 22 points to the upside. And I think it's trading about 4 or 5 now after hours. So big move. A lot of volume. So the move is definitely for real. Shorts are getting squeezed into this resistance. If you look back here, we have this little gap gap resistance area, which I marked here in that blue. Now we have filled that. Now we need to see where we go. Do we go to 500? We could easily get to 500, but I think that's going to be a big area where I think a lot of the bears are going to defend. So if you are long from here, move your stops up, maybe halfway into this candle, 480, 485, and then and just keep trailing until you get stopped out. But if you're long, great trade, bull flag coming off of here. We have 1 day move. And yesterday, Apple did nothing up until the end of the day when Carl Icahn mentioned the tweet. So just a good heads up, good if you're long. And again, we filled the gap here, so use caution going into the 500 area. And lastly, the Qs had a good day because of Apple. Okay. Hopefully we'll get some movement this week. Today is Wednesday, so we got 3 more full trading days. Looking forward to a little bit of volatility. It's been a little tough finding some good plays, but nonetheless, if you just keep looking, you will find them. Maybe not be great players. Hey, bunts count. You put a bunt in, or you get onto first base. And in this low volatility environment, it's good enough for now, at least until we get into September. But remember, we are coming into seasonal weakness, so I do think that a pickup in volatility is really around the corner. All right, guys, have a great day today, and we'll speak to you tomorrow. Take care.